You look good, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Apologies for all this because this would have been a perfect combination. Okay, so the first thing we'll be talking about today is, should couples live together before marriage? So I'm going to first start with, let me start with you, Pastor.
Okay.
Do you believe that couples should actually live together before marriage? And before that, I have a very short thing I grabbed from it. Okay. And this says, the benefit of living together pre-marriage, you can learn more about each other's strengthening your joint ability to problem solving and reinforce your relationship and ability to navigate stressors, which can instill more confidence in your decision to both get married. But what's your own take? What you believe that should couples live together before settling down?
Basically, couples living together before marriage is stand a chance of not really living to marriage, because who pays for a car or everything? So it's no matter if you live, most times because it's making marriage already, it takes away the commitment. So most times it's not even good, because when we come from the religious angle, living together is it contradicts the word of God. And basically, staying away from each other, staying together. I mean, why dating? Why in dating? It helps them to study each other. You don't have to stay together before you know each other. You can know each other from distance and lack of that. By myself and my wife, we didn't live together, but we got to learn about each other within 1 year, and we were good to go. And 6 years after, down the line, we are still going.
We're still together. Okay. Although I have a question as regards knowing a person because you're dating and you're staying apart. I wanted to ask the question because some persons that I've seen, they believe they know themselves well enough, but when they get into marriage, it's very difficult. And some people will not find out some things that they cannot even deal with, which sometimes end up making that the marriage might last, okay, but the love reduces. It now becomes more like we're just having a partnership. Yeah, there's nothing really. Just take care of the children. I'll give you the money, and the wife is, because she can take some things or he can take some things. But I want to ask: should you just believe what he just said? That people should not live together.
Absolutely, I agree with everything he has said. But naturally he's a pastor, right?
So he would always say,
he would always come from that angle, which is correct. I'm a Christian, so I support what he has said. But if I want to be a little bit neutral, okay, so let's pretend for a second.
Let's use the word factual.
Factual. I have a problem with that word. Yes, I wouldn't want to choose that word. Okay. But I want to reason from both sides of the coin. So I would say that marriage itself is an institution that is a risk on its own. So I've seen folks who say stuff like, okay, don't do this, don't do that, and they tick all the boxes. No box is left unticked, and they get into marriage, and this is disaster. As a matter of fact, their story is even more disastrous than. Are you know what I'm saying? Now I've seen folks who actually didn't fulfill all righteousness, and they still got it right. As in their stories. Are you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but what I would say is this: whichever angle you want to come from, play it safe. Both options have their advantages and disadvantages. It has the advantage and disadvantage. So if you want to look at the advantage you get when you live with your spouse, you cannot deny that there are no advantages. However, there are also risks. For example, if she dies in your house, do you understand what I'm saying? That's a problem already. Do you understand what I'm saying? The other one, it's naturally, like he said, you wouldn't want to go pay for what you already have. So people naturally would just be lackadaisical about it. So you know what I'm saying? But let's look at the other side of it. You see, people can't pretend for so long. And so in the confinement of cohabitation, there are certain things that you can uncover. Even dubious character. Are you know what I'm saying? So there are certain, if I know I have a date with you, and we are going to spend 5 hours, I can regulate my calls, regulate my text message, I can regulate my activity, and regulate everything. But I cannot perfectly do that. If I was going to, do you understand what I'm saying? I cannot perfectly do that. And if I have a medical condition, I probably decide not to tell you.
But you find out definitely.
So there are a lot of things you can't find out. But however, like I said, both sides has its own risk. And but if I want to advise or recommend, I will say stay on the other side. But this is what I would say. If you know the kind of person you're dating, figure out your own strategy to find out what you need to know. My parents, when they got married, my father just walked to his pastor and said, there's this pretty lady I want to marry. She was not a member of his branch, but of another branch. And the pastor made his inquiry and said, she's a good girl. His family went to make inquiry from the community where she comes from. He said, she's a good girl. But in this time and age, that does not work.
No, not at all.
So you can't want to go through that route because it was so those days when you talk about Christianity itself had credibility.
Yeah.
But now you have a lot of scammers. As a matter of fact, I used to say my brothers in church, don't marry a lady because of speaking in tongue.
Oh, Pastor agrees. I like that.
Yes. Don't. That's the highest deception you put yourself inside. Avoid all of those churchy religious activity. The first time I contemplated suicide, it was a church girl. In fact, I remember when I was talking to a pastor, I mentioned the name of the church so that I would not stigmatize it. But I remember the pastor was there like, you these young boys, please don't make sure this sister is a committed, she loves God, she blah blah. The pastor was cutting me warning. Whereas I was the one that was supposed to be protected. Because what we unveiled at the end of the day.
Please share now. You cannot just open ports and we perceive you. We need to know.
It's a long story, but let's cut it. 30 days to the day of the trial was when it dawned on me that this thing is not going to work.
Wow.
But let me just give you an idea of what happened, okay? Because I found out that she was cheating. As a matter of fact, I didn't even believe when I later get to find out all of these things. It took one of the guys who was sleeping with her to tell me, you are fooling yourself. Okay, if you think I want to film up this lady, come to my house. My neighbors, they know her. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, she was in my house. The food in my fridge, she cooked everything.
Whoa.
But this lady, I'm telling you, she does not miss night prayer. As a matter of fact, part of the things that got us falling in love was because my friend, who was her neighbor, always heard her praying and screaming at night to the point that he challenged his own wife. He said, can't you see how she prays? You're just sleeping. Do you understand?
Oh my word.
Religious activities do not connote it.
Yeah.
You have to find a way of searching out what are the parts of this person or the
yes.
Find your way.
Okay, I wanted to ask something. I've always heard this, but can we break it down a little bit? You say when someone, instead of buying a cow, or how did you put it?
You can't go buying milk outside.
When you have a cow. Okay, that means in what extent? Like, give an example. Is it because they are always getting intimate, which is sex, or maybe she's always cooking, or I don't understand, because there are some people that cohabit. Yeah, there are some people that I've seen that they cohabit, and she's always like, I will not be cooking for you every time. I'm just cohabiting because I want to know if this will work. She doesn't cook every time, and there's nothing like she washes. She's even stubborn and she's well disciplined, but because I think she's more late in marriage. She's in her 40s. So she's like, I can't be doing these things when I'm not certain, because if I do them all, when we now get married, what will now remain that I will do that will surprise you, that will make you feel like, yes, I think I married a new person. So, but what's your let me ask Pastor first. Pastor, I want to know, is it just about the sex you're talking about? Because some persons actually don't do everything. I'm saying from friend's perspective?
Okay, basically, the major foundation or the essence of coming together as husband or wife, one of the key is sex. You know, and I've seen many in my total experience, whereby most people who cohabit before marriage, they don't actually pay the right price. They might eventually end up giving birth to children and lots of that. But many times we always force them. I push many of them, some of my people who I know like that, I push them to actually pay that price. And basically, spiritually, is not even good. If you see, I'm just going to say again, this one here, because some people might not know. The reason why many women, many Christian women, they have issues with childbirth after marriage, that's spiritually now, is as a result of this sex before marriage. Or cohabiting before marriage. I've seen it over and over and over. Sometimes many of the cases they bring before me, I tell them go and pay the right price. Sometimes it brings delay in childbearing. Sometimes it brings misfortune in terms of finances. I've seen it over and over again. So if somebody comes with me to come and pray for them, the first thing I ask is that, are you legally married? You know, because most of the prayer I want to pray, that thing will be affecting it. So that part is that, like the question you asked, somebody who is having sex already before marriage, and I can wake up in the morning, I can have it, I can wake up in the night and have it. Why paying for it? I've seen it already. A lot of people don't want to do, you know, because, and another thing to that thing again is that, you know, when a Christian brother and a Christian sister, when they with each other, they can go back to God and say, God, please have mercy, forgive me, if they are not living together. But when they are not living together, okay, they do it in money, do it in that. How many times are they going to ask for forgiveness? So they are living in sin, and that's dangerous spiritually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as regards to your question, okay, so now there are three levels in a relationship. The first one is the point of attraction, where there's all your dopamines and hormones that they are working, and both of you think you're crazy, and some people even say love at first sight and all of that. So at that stage, everybody is driven by passion. The second stage is the stage where you get to find out the deficiencies in your partner. And at this stage, this is one of the most critical stages. By the time you find out the deficiencies in your partner, two things are going to happen that will lead to the third stage. Is either you accept reality and try to improve on the deficiencies, or you say, I don't do again.
Right.
It's bigger. Are you what I'm saying? So now, when you cohabit, the see finish factor comes in. Automatically, you walk into step 2 faster than you think. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when you get into step 2, in that step 2, by the time he or she finds out, I cannot do again, especially if the guy finds out I cannot do again, the second person starts feeling cheated. Oh, after everything I did for you, after blah 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 blah, I gave you back a front style, I did this one, I did it. You've heard of this. So, but what you forget to understand is, if a guy wakes up today and says to himself, I cannot cope with Jane, as bitter as it sounds, it's better you let him go. That's true. Because a broken relationship would always be better than a broken home. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's better to. So by the time this happens, you now start dealing with depression, low self-esteem. A lot of things will start coming into play. Then, this is one part of it. The second part of it is, if I am gifted an Android phone, and I didn't have a phone initially, and I've always wanted to buy an iPhone, and someone walks up to me and say, Success, this Android phone is for you, the desire to buy the iPhone would drastically go down, because I already have something to work with. It will only take a strong desire for me to insist and say it must be iPhone.
Okay.
So when you occupy the place and the position of a wife, now you now expect the guy to go and start spending the money to do all the legalities behind it. It will take extra love to make that happen. And this is where the disadvantage of cohabitation comes in. If a guy has not gotten 100% access to you as a lady, the ginger is higher. But the moment everything that defines you as a woman has been tested, there's no more. You know the way you feel when you travel abroad for the first time. Yeah. You're like imaginations of. But if you've gone there 1 or 2 times, you'll be like, is it not? So if that's the point where I said, you understand what I'm saying now? So that's why I said it has. So people who actually go ahead to finally pay the bride price, to finally do what is supposed to be done, actually truly love their partners and want to. And sometimes people do it because of avoiding karma. You know, what you're doing to somebody's daughter, be prepared. Somebody might do it. And if you don't want those kind of things happening,
you have to stop it yourself.
Do the right thing.
But there's another, quickly, I just
okay, sure, why not?
I've been on the defensive the other time. Now, I saw an article, and a man cried out after marrying, discovered that the wife was an hermaphrodite. And he lost.
Really?
Yes. That is one of the advantages to cohabitation. And like I told you, I don't know how I would pretend about critical issues. For example, I know I am a 1-inch man, and I want to marry a pretty lady that I know that this is most wanted. You now bring her to the house, and she shall be fantasizing about love making, only for her to discover that she has to deal with a toothpick.
Oh my God.
Do you understand?
That will not even work. She'll be.
These are not formulated stories. These are stories that have happened. Sometimes it's the issue of. So this is what I always say. Try as much as possible to be open. But
that's true.
If the Bible says that the heart of man is desperately wicked. I know of a wedding that he knew he was HIV positive.
That's true.
The church had mandated them to do tests. They had done all the tests, but that particular one, he was just playing around it and giving excuses. So that particular pastor that was supposed to wed them insisted that this marriage will not hold until all the tests are complete. It was the day of the wedding. Everybody dressed, people seated. People are even wondering, why is the wedding taking so much time for the pastor to do? It was on the stage that the slip was sent to the pastor.
Oh, wow.
That this guy, the lady cried her life out.
It will lead to a mental issue.
Yes.
The one I saw led to mental issue.
Well, you know, for the HIV distance, so far it's not AIDS. For the HIV, if it will take a while.
But HIV is there. But this didn't happen like 20 years ago.
Okay, that time
HIV was like, a sentence.
Oh Lord, it's a death sentence. But for
sentence.
now, you can even still. You just have to protect yourself. That's what they will always say.
It's not even this disease that is my emphasis here.
It's
the intention.
Yeah.
Why would you
hide something
like that?
There must be openness.
There must be openness.
Yeah. So the guy was an impotent. It was on the day of the engagement that the wife got to. It was in night. She got to realize that she's dealing with
oh my word.
In conclusion, my point is, find the most suitable and justifiable way to dig out what you need to know, because you're the one that will dance the dance.
Yes, at the end of the day. Yeah. Okay, so I think I will totally agree with, if I don't even know, I will agree with, yes.
Be open.
Let's be open, and in fact, maybe, okay, let me take it this way. Do not cohabitate. But even if you have to, don't cohabitate for too long. In fact, have your own place. You can go stay 3-4 days, go back home, but don't stay 1 week, 2 weeks at a stretch, 3 weeks. It becomes too. Let the person miss you small. Do you understand? I think that's the best way I can put it. Don't just pack all your belongings and everything and just keep staying there.
So that is for the ladies, Abby. Then for the guys, you conclude.
Okay, what advice you give to the guys?
For the guys, the risk. Did you see the video that went on the internet about this guy that cohabited and the lady died, and he was asked to marry the corpse?
Yeah, I heard of the story.
That's
and but the advice I'm giving now will also help the guy, because she's not going to be staying with him like say 1 full year. All the planning, everything, they are doing it together. No, so they can always stay away from each other, give themselves some personal space. Okay, hey God. Okay, let me go to the second topic because our time is already. Anyways, this one is, who should genuinely, we'll discuss this already in my office, but I said I was going to bring it out here because that was why I brought the two of you, because you're men.